we are literally making history right now, and it may not be in the best way, because I need you to remember what's happening. The Iran war is still a thing. Most nations right now are turning against America. And so at a last moment of soft diplomacy, King Charles of the United Kingdom flew over to Washington, D.C. to meet with President Donald Trump. And they had words, and he met with the Congress. And essentially, for those on the outside looking in that do not follow geopolitics, that don't really understand history, that don't understand macroeconomics, you may believe that this is just a nice visit, but this was a last resort visit to President Donald Trump, the Congress, and the Americans, so that the United Kingdom could warn America and let them know, listen, we helped you to not be colonized by the French. We helped you in times that you needed help. We've been there for you in the Afghanistan, the Iraq, all the different wars that you like to put across the world. But listen, this time is different. If you do not reel it back a little bit, then America could be finished. And President Donald Trump knows this, so he obliged the King of Great Britain. And, you know, they got along well, had poetic letters and all these wonderful President Trump talking about how his mom had a crush on King Charles and blah, 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 blah. And the Scottish people that are his ancestry, and how great it was for that European unity that may be at a tipping point of no return.
Yeah, that's good. Look, you said it. You said something very important, history. And there's no reason why we did that video with 1619 to 2019. This kind of reminds me of, you have to know your history, because they're putting it right in your face. They're telling you, hey, my fifth late grandfather, he was this in 1600s and this and that, just kind of bypassing of what was going on in that time. But they're telling you without telling you what's like what this means, because this year, they said it, 250 years of independence on American soil. You get what I'm saying? So that's something that is huge for them. That's something that is a pivotal point, to be honest. So you got to see what's going on in real time with the chaos that's going on also. It's a lot of things that's happening. It's a lot of distractions. But I believe this is something very important, and you really have to have eyes to see and ears to hear.
Guys, the world is shifting. The question is, are you going to shift with it? We have the Mature Adult Intensive coming up May 3rd at 2 p.m. EST. And this is something that I truly believe everyone needs to take into consideration, where it's not about risking your life. It's about wasting your time, to be honest. It's about your peace of mind. It's about, you having more options for your family and your next generation, because what is coming is going to be more control. You need to have a strategy to get to freedom. So, Mature Adult Intensive is May 3rd, Sunday at 2 p.m. EST. Come join us.
This is a critical turning point. And let's be real here. While Trump has pursued a policy in the Iran war of unyielding pressure and regime change, similar to Israel, Starmer has drawn a firm line. Starmer is actually the Prime Minister of the UK. He did not attend this procession or this celebration or this Congress meeting. Only the King and Camilla did, okay? And so Starmer has said that we will help you with bases in Cyprus and Qatar to intercept the missiles, but you will not use British airspace to shoot missiles at Iran for any offensive strikes. Let's make that clear. He also said that they are forbidden from using Diego Garcia in the Indian Ocean not too far from India. He said, you cannot use it for strikes to hit Iran. And so the Western Hemisphere, the Western powers are coming to a critical conjunction, an area where they don't quite agree, an area where boundary lines have to be set. Because in old times, America, Great Britain, France, Spain, they were all super unified, and they would just about do what each of the other ones said. But something different is happening here. The Iran war is awakening something within the nations to see how corrupt and evil the American regime really is. I mean, after all, they just took a vote at the United Nations to condemn the transatlantic slave trade as the most cruel war crime on humanity that has ever happened in history. Now, in this vacuum of leadership steps King Charles, by deploying the monarchy, the UK is attempting to bypass political friction and appeal to Trump's well-documented affinity for the crown. So this is really the last resort before you see World War III just totally break out into chaos, before you potentially see missiles flying over American skies, before you potentially see a Russia and Iran, which, by the way, while the UK and the US met, Russia and Iran also met as well around the same time, just a day before. And they were all smiles and all hugs. And, you know, Russia came in to say, look, we support you. If you're taking this to the full level, then we are there with you to get rid of the Americans.
Yeah, it's getting deeper and deeper, guys. I know it seems like, you know, there's not a lot of things going on. It seems like you have to just really dig deep and focus and, I guess, work. But behind the scenes, you got to know it's a shift that's happening. It's a big shift that's happening. And these economies, these governments, these nations knew this way before this year. You get what I'm saying? Way before 5 years ago, maybe way before 10 years ago. So they knew that it was going to come a time just like this where it's going to be a big shift. So what's happening in the Middle East, in Iran, right? You know, that this petrodollar is a big deal, guys. This is a big deal. The U.S. do not want to give that up. You know, that's huge. That's huge. I know that's a whole nother conversation right there. But there's a lot of things that you really got to keep up with. And with the King, I guess King Charles coming to America to express the history and things like that. I truly believe this is something way bigger than what we is going to expect and what's coming to the future.
I do too. I full-heartedly know and believe that. And get this, the UK and France have proposed an international defensive mission to reopen the waterway. But here's the thing. They need US backing because the Europeans, you know, it was great in the colonial times where they had the greatest navies and the greatest powers, but it's not really like that because Europe has slowly been returning to the Dark Ages. And so they don't really have that power that they used to have. So they need the US backing because without it, the regime change would become baggage that Russia and China have vowed to veto. Because remember, although we're talking about UK versus US, UK and France versus US, and how there's just trouble in the house right now and disunity, on the other side of that, you have Russia and China waiting. They are excited. They are cheerful. They are happy. They're like, finally, the European powers have disunified after all this time of us being patient. And remember, it's the same thing that technically occurred to the continent of Africa at the Berlin Conference. You go from Europe and you see the continent of Africa in disarray, and you decide, hey, you know, we used to fight each other in the Dark Ages, but why fight each other? Why not Europeans become unified and we actually divide the African continent instead? Because they already have a hatred for each other within the tribes. They already have issues from one kingdom to another. Let's just exploit those issues and blow them up a little bit, because the devil comes to kill, steal, and destroy, right?
Yeah.
And so here's the conclusion of the matter. The shock absorber, the part that should truly wake you up as if you are waking up in a pool or a bath of ice. This visit proves that the British monarchy remains the ultimate diplomatic shock absorber, trying to have soft diplomacy. And by focusing on the shared history of their common ancestors and the symbolicness of the 250 years that occurs this July 4th, the king is buying the Starmer government the time it needs to navigate the Iran war. To see, okay, let's just be nice to the Americans for a moment. We don't really know what they're going to do. You can't tell with President Trump. We don't really know if we can trust them or if we even want to trust them. But let's buy ourselves some time to figure this out, get things situated before winter rolls back around. Because wartime in the winter, especially in Europe and Canada and America, can be very difficult. And let's not forget, I'm going to keep reminding you, May 1st, literally days away, flights going out of Chicago O'Hare will be in smaller segments. A great decline. You won't see as many flights going international. And they didn't say, oh, this will be up in June, this will be up in July, we'll be back up and running by August. No, they said at least until October. So we have a lot of ingredients here brewing for the perfect storm of the collapse of the Western nations. And Russia and China, they're about to get some leverage, because while the Western nations collapse, different regions of the world will begin to rise.
Yeah, and that's 100%. And you have to realize that this is really all about control too. So they're creating problems to give you a solution, things like this. Now you have to think about it on a bigger level. So everything that's happening is happening for a reason, but you just have to be in the right position. You have to be in the right environment, and you have to be in the right environment for the next generations to come. Because what I'm hearing from Trump and the
King Charles?
King Charles, I hate to say it, but yeah, King Charles, they talk about their generations. So it's just like, I'm hearing this word, they understand like their lineage and stuff like that. Now is your time to really like step up and be like, okay, I really got to make a change today, because this shift is happening fast and I need to adjust so I can be able to see the next generation flourish. So
yeah,
it's coming fast, guys. It's coming fast. So this is why we say the right environment. It will change your mindset. It will change your health too. It will change your peace. I'm telling you, it's something that when you travel, when you move to another environment, it helps you grow spiritually. It helps you grow mentally. It helps you grow physically too. Or you might lose some weight. You never know. So, this is something that's happening in real time, and you really got to take it serious.
Yes, it also grows your finances. It grows your savings, your investments, investment accounts, your business, your network, your retirement plans. It's just so much better outside of the West. And it's going to become increasingly so, because we can see the writing on the wall. You can see the writing on the wall, but some people can't. And so they will go down with the Titanic as it continues to slide into a perpetual decline that it cannot get out of, because this is the judgment of the American and Western powers. Shalom, shalom. We'll see you in the next video.
Shalom, family.